Want to be sure that you don't miss a single video or blog post? Hit the bell icon on the channel page and hit save to enable your notifications. Be sure to select the notification setting that fits you best. Are you not a fan or don't want to receive notifications? Just jump straight to your subscriptions page to view the latest videos from your favorite creators and channels. You can learn more about how to support your favorite creators and bloggers here. We'll also provide a link in the description below. Today, I just wanted to share with you folks a little bit about the house building process that Alyssa and I have been going through. We've seen comments kind of on some of these videos and on our blog that kind of are all over the place about who we are, what we're doing, what we should be doing, what we're not doing, those types of things. And we wanted to kind of start sharing some of the house building process. Part of our goal with this entire project, Pure Living for Life that is, was to document and share both the decision making and also the doing of building a homestead off-grid from scratch. It's kind of become clear to us, and we didn't really know this either, but through the comments and questions and emails that we receive, that a lot of people really are not super familiar with all the planning, strategizing, and we'll go through some of that today, that goes into building a property from nothing. In case you're a new subscriber and you might not know exactly where we are in this project, jump back to the beginning of Pure Living for Life and you'll see that we arrived with an RV full of our belongings and nothing else. Since then, we've been working hard to do many things. We'll cover some of that stuff in this video series. We know there's a lot of questions out there. We hope that this video series will generate a lot of dialogue. We already have a lot of points that we want to share. So we intend to break this up into several videos because it's going to be pretty lengthy. But there's a lot of really great experience that we've had already that we want to communicate to you folks. We know that a lot of you have a lot of experience building houses and developing properties, and we have benefited a lot from people who have generously taken time out of their day to post really meaningful comments, shoot us emails, stuff like that. We make our very best effort to read all of those messages, and I guess it's one of those things, careful what you wish for, but we get a lot of them and we do our best to read them all. But there's just no way we could possibly respond to every one of them. So we do welcome feedback. I want to say though, before everybody opens the floodgates of advice, keep in mind that you don't know everything about our project. You don't know everything about Alyssa and I. So kind of factor that into criticisms. We'll actually be doing another video most likely addressing the topic of off-grid. There seems to be some confusion amongst our subscribers about who we are. We want to kind of clarify and crystallize some of that so that there's less confusion. And a lot of that really just comes down to making sure that people don't have a weird expectation about what we're going to provide in our videos. We just want to make sure that people aren't sitting around waiting for something that's probably never going to show up on our channel. Conversely, we want to make sure that the right people are finding our channel and that they are finding what it is that they're looking for. Let's kind of talk about what is keeping Alyssa and I from building a house. The first thing that we should discuss on this topic is the fact that we actually are building a house. There seems to be some confusion about how houses are built. Houses require phenomenal amounts of planning. It seems to be that some people think that a house is built when you start picking up boards and cutting boards and putting in nails and pouring concrete. What we have learned from talking with a lot of people who have built homes is that a home that is well built requires exponentially more time to create, to conjure up, to plan, and understand long before a board ever gets cut or a nail gets put in. We have seen this in some of the homes that we have visited throughout our life, of course, but even locally where we moved to. We see houses that were built, and then we see homes. And there's a difference there. Alyssa and I do have sufficient shelter. We have a comfortable place that we're living. It meets our needs. We do have, some troubles with basic services like, electricity has been quite a nuisance for us. But day to day, we're fine. We have focused a lot on not developing our current living situation. We're not looking for a way to get out of our RV. We want to be patient, and day to day, we're accepting our current living situation because we created it. And we put a lot of thought into this. So we're not victims of our current living situation. This is deliberate. We've talked about doing another video, which has been requested, about why we chose to do an RV, why we didn't go with a cabin, a tiny house, a yurt. We're not passionate about the way we are living right now. It doesn't excite us, but we're fine. Instead of spending our energy and time and resources and money trying to, what we passionately call, polish a turd, we're spending our time and energy learning, and we're working toward building what we consider to be a forever home. A beautiful, nice, comfortable, long-lasting, good investment home. In a really ideal world, we hope to be out of our RV in the next 2 years or so. Even after we start the house, it's quite likely we'll still be in the RV because the house won't have any of the essential services. It'll basically be a shell for a while. We'll touch on this subject a little bit more, and that is learning from observing other people who have done or are doing something similar to what we are doing. But we've noticed that there seems to be this magnetism out of the gate when you show up to a bare property to have to get up shelter. And it creates kind of a very paradoxical situation where you have to weigh out the benefits versus the drawbacks of building too fast. And I could do probably a 10 video series on the thinking that goes into what shelter people choose to build, because you're trying to balance out the money, time, and energy and resources that you have today with your future needs. And what ends up happening, we see it time and again, is that people end up building for the short term and not thinking well and clear about the long term. And that's a very common reaction. The other reaction is that people tend to overbuild, and they end up having to incur substantial debt. And as a course of that, they end up with a nice home, but they also end up with a ball and chain that might take them 20 years, 30 years or more to pay off. They've basically built themselves a rental with a landlord. We're trying to avoid a lot of that stuff. So what we have now was built temporary, and it's designed to be temporary. It has opened up a door for us where we can actually live this life right now for a while, which is good because there's always this assumption that you're going to love living this way and you're just going to jump in with both feet, which to us seems a little bit presumptuous or maybe even kind of reckless. There's another YouTube channel out there called Appalachia Homestead. She recently did a video talking about when people quit homesteading. I'll actually link to that video. It's a fantastic chat. She's a very passionate woman, and she covers this topic very well, where people show up at their property with all these grandiose ideas they've gained over the years from people they know, from the internet, from research, maybe their own kind of imagination. They go bonkers on their property and they burn out. Something else happens. It's not well executed. It's a great idea, but the execution fails. Because we have not built a home yet, there's actually been a lot of blessings that have come our way because of that. To be honest, we actually intended to build as soon as we got here. Maybe there was some divine intervention there. I don't know. So the folks whose perception is that we're not doing whatever they perceive to be homesteading, maybe that's just what you would do. We're doing fine. We're actually pretty happy and pretty content. When we first got here, many of our neighbors looked at our living situation and just kind of gave us that winky eye, like, really? You're gonna, okay, well, that's gonna be interesting to watch. I'm not tooting our horn. I'm just saying that we're very resilient and we're problem solvers. And so we have had struggles already. We've had some setbacks. We've had some scares. But our plan A was to be on this property and to live here. And to be honest with you, that's another video that we had talked about doing, is plan B and plan C, because this wasn't a we're all in or it's gonna fail. We actually have a couple of backup plans and we're still not out of the woods on those yet. There are still many roads to pave and bridges to cross that may set us back. We didn't show up and just go bonkers building a farm, which it seems that some folks out there might have done or might do if they were in our situation. We'd be very curious to watch a person do that and succeed. We would surely learn a lot from it, but that's just not been our experience. House building does not start when you start cutting boards. House building is a long process. We are open to having questions and comments presented to us, and we'll try to answer those as best we can when we create a video that approaches that topic. I'll just give you a basic list of the overarching subjects. First, we want to talk about finances and some of our financial hurdles, our strategies, and some of our financial accomplishments. And then we want to talk about skills and experience. We're going to shed some light on Alyssa and I and our experience level, things that we didn't know, and how we're going about building our skills and experience, and also how doing so has helped us understand what parts of a home we are capable of taking care of and where we should look for more help. We'll be talking about practice, which is something that we've really focused a lot on. Since we haven't started building a home, we've been looking for other projects that will help us to build our skills. We'll be talking about research, and this is a big topic. There's a ton of research that we've done, which we have not discussed in any of our former videos. We'll share some of the things that we've been finding, where we've researched, who we've talked to, and things that it's opened our mind to that ultimately will affect both what, how, and when we build our house. We'll also be talking about education and some of the sources and resources that we've used to increase our knowledge, and hopefully that will help folks out there find some places where they can start their own education journey. We'll also be talking about tools and the journey of finding tools, collecting tools, understanding what tools we need and how to use them. We'll also be discussing relationships, which is a subject a lot of people have inquired about and asked us to discuss, which is a major factor for us because Alyssa and I do hope to build this home together, and a lot of projects of this magnitude have a direct effect on your relationship. We've already done a lot of research, we've done some practicing, and what we've learned about ourselves, about each other, and about working together. And we'll also be discussing weather. Weather actually has a direct effect on our ability to build, and some of the things that we've already learned from tackling projects and the effect that weather has on those projects. We'll also be discussing life, which is a topic that most people wouldn't factor into their building project strategy. Some of the things that we've learned from just living and from other people who have built projects like this and what they've told us about life and how to factor that into your construction project. Finally, we'll be talking about some other projects that we've been doing and kind of shed some light on how at first it seems like your timelines are going to be perfect, but then other projects need to be done, and we'll kind of share some of our experiences with other projects that we've accomplished and how that factors into building a home. We do want to make one comment about building a home. Alyssa and I are making an honest attempt to build our own home. When we talk to a lot of people, their advice really isn't too practical for us because so many people have someone else build their home. So they're very vocal about home building, yet when it comes right down to it, they don't fundamentally understand how homes are built, why their home was built the way it was, materials, sizing, energy, effort, cost, etc. One of the things that Alyssa and I are not looking for is empty advice. Anybody can read a website or read a forum or watch a YouTube video or recommend a book. And honestly, if we took the time to read every book, watch every video, and read every forum, we'd be dead long before we ever broke ground. So we're having to filter through the advice that comes to us and try to find things that are practical. We're not interested in what we would call fringe building techniques. They're not practical necessarily for us. They're not something that we're passionate about. And you'll learn more about this through this video, about why we're building the way we are and what our goals are and the logic behind it all. While we are off-grid and there are a lot of building techniques that a lot of people who are off-grid are interested in, you probably won't find much of those in our strategy. Thanks for watching this video, and we look forward to diving deep into this subject.